A man with the account name Danieltommy616 turned Pinterest into a private vault of distorted, images of children. And for over a year, nobody outside a small circle of internet sleuths had any idea it existed. When someone who cared enough eventually stumbled upon Daniel Tommy's page, they discovered something even more disturbing than pictures. This discovery ignited the most intense online investigation I have seen in a while. So I decided to look into Daniel Tommy myself, and what I found sent chills down my spine. I'll get right into it, starting with the first time this page was exposed. In 2025, someone stumbled upon Tommy's page on Pinterest. The profile was packed with photos of children, except something was off about every single one. And I am talking about an uncanny valley level of distortion. Their lips had been inflated to a glossy, almost cartoonish size. Their eyes had been stretched wider than any face could naturally hold, and their hairlines were warped, faces reshaped. The overall effect landed somewhere between a broken Instagram filter and something built that way on purpose by someone with naughty thoughts. But who was this person? There's been a lot of online speculation about who actually has the Danieltommy616 account and other similar accounts, and most people seem to agree that the account owner has some sort of fetish towards kids. I stumbled upon a Reddit post that covered the case and found comments like, "Most like a files account, unfortunately." Much easier to hide this behavior on Pinterest than any other public social media platform, so I think that's why a lot of people are gravitating towards it. That's what I thought too. Maybe just showcasing CP they have to trade or something. I tried looking at the account again today though, and I can't find it anymore. Part of me is wondering if this is another schoolboy type situation in the sense that this person photoshopped these children onto compromising images. These photos all feel almost cookie cutter, if that makes sense. They seem like the types of photos you could easily use in Photoshop. This whole thing is really weird, and Pinterest feels so dark lately. I'll talk more about moderators' carelessness on Pinterest soon, but I need to explain why Daniel's situation was a big deal in the first place. You see, it wasn't just one profile, at least 4 active profiles were running simultaneously, with several more already wiped or banned as a result of the scandal. And every time one got reported into oblivion, another popped up within days under a slightly different spelling of the same handful of names like Daniel, Tommy, Tammy, Lee, shuffled into new combinations like a bad magic trick. One single profile reportedly held over 1,200 of these edited images. Multiply that across the rest of the network and you're staring at an archive that took serious, sustained effort to build. This wasn't a few accidental saves during a late night scroll. This was deliberate, repetitive, and organized, which is exactly why art reference wasn't going to cut it as an explanation. One thing that caught my attention as I dug deeper into the rabbit hole was that the account wasn't posting original photography all the time. It was saving images from elsewhere on the internet and sorting them into folders with disturbingly specific labels. Many of these images trace back to real, identifiable children and teenagers. Real photos distorted to meet the poster's weird expectations, probably using some image editing software, most likely the premium version of FaceApp. Some images showed a child's face grafted onto an entirely different body. Others blended multiple children's features into a single composite face, meaning the result wasn't even one real kid anymore, but a patchwork stitched together from several different sources. I noticed that certain expressions, poses, and even specific smiles repeated across completely different children throughout the archive, strongly suggesting that individual facial features were being treated as interchangeable parts. A smile pulled from one photo, eyes pulled from another, hair texture from a third. And in most cases, the most prominent edits were to the lips, leading people to believe the poster had some sort of a lip fetish. Seems like this person has a lip fetish. All of these people seem to have abnormally large lips, either naturally or possibly edited. They probably just save any image they come across that's of a child with large lips. Obviously, this person is mentally unwell, to say the least. Beyond the edited images, multiple sources described unaltered photos of real kids mixed throughout, some in everyday settings, some in swimwear, alongside images that appeared to be personally taken rather than pulled from elsewhere online. With all that evidence, one thing was clear for everyone to see. This wasn't random. I unfortunately agree with what everyone else has reiterated, and that this account is more likely belonging to someone with ulterior motives, especially considering that most of the images of children that are saved are specifically young black boys, which could hint at some sort of fetish preference this individual may have. Truly disgusting, but thank you for bringing this to light. Where did Tommy find the children? Did he have any physical contact with them? My curiosity was piqued. There's also the part that turned this from a digital obsession into something with a genuinely disturbing real-world footprint. Photos that appeared to be taken inside the account owner's home, showing framed prints of these edited children's images displayed on shelves and walls like family portraits. There were also reports of QR codes scattered across some of the boards, redirecting to external pages, one pointing to a streaming service and another to a separate photo storage account. None of that has been independently confirmed to lead anywhere illegal, and I'm not telling anyone to scan random QR codes from a case like this one. If you ever stumble onto something similar, don't investigate it by scanning the code yourself. Report it and walk away as I did. I looked into the account owner, and while there hasn't been any confirmation, I found some leads. Tracking the face behind the account wasn't easy, but trust the sleuths to root him out. What really got everyone digging deeper was when people spotted something personal in the saved pins. A photo that showed a Walmart employee award with the name Tommy Daniel on it, and another had a Walmart fridge magnet. These weren't stock photos, they looked like snapshots from the account owner's life. That clue changed everything. YouTubers like Cryptid Candy jumped on it in videos, zooming in on the details and cross-checking against Walmart employee info, especially around the Forest City areas, which also appeared in a picture on the page. It pointed straight to a longtime employee named Tommy Daniel. Then someone on Reddit claimed the account owner was Thomas Allen Daniel, about 61 at the time. The poster reportedly had some sort of family connection to Tommy. They claimed he is an Iranian immigrant whose family had come to the US in the 1960s and faced some tough times. His name is Thomas Allen Daniel, and we're distant relatives. He's a 61-year-old creep who lives in Fort Worth, Texas. I've always been wary of him. Our family immigrated from Iran decades ago and went through a lot of hardships trying to build a life here. But none of that is an excuse for this kind of behavior. Whatever struggles someone has faced, they're responsible for their own actions. The rest of the family wants nothing to do with him. And it's upsetting seeing our background brought up as if it somehow explains what he's done. It doesn't. He apparently stayed in Fort Worth, Texas for a bit in the 1980s, got into early computers like the Commodore 64, and had Asperger's. Keep a pin on this detail because we will get to it soon. I can't verify the poster's story on my own, but it lines up with the rest of the story. It paints a picture of a guy who mostly stayed out of the spotlight his whole life and spent years working at Walmart. In some of the follow-up chatter, people brought up possible church ties or photos shared by coworkers and people who knew him, but that's all just speculation. What's clear is that there's almost no digital trail before 2025. No big social media accounts, no news articles, nothing that pops up under his name in connection with this case. That history fits perfectly with someone who kept a low profile online and curated content under a pseudonym, rather than posting about himself. It didn't take long for details about his identity to spread across socials, and as more people looked into it, the account owner started to panic, deleting his accounts, probably desperate to hide his tracks. This went from being a vague online mystery to something tied to a real person living an otherwise ordinary life. A lot of people were just relieved there was finally a real name attached to the accounts. That meant, in theory, you could actually report them through the right channels. Comments blew up with people saying, Pinterest, the FBI, and groups like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children needed to be notified ASAP. And some people actually made reports. I submitted a tip to both the FBI and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children after seeing everything that had been posted. I have no idea whether it will lead anywhere, but I'd rather report something that turns out to be nothing than ignore something that could involve a child. If anyone has actual evidence, send it to the proper authorities instead of trying to investigate it yourself. I reached out to NCMEC with links and screenshots because the content made me genuinely uncomfortable. They have professionals who know how to evaluate these situations far better than random people on Reddit. Hopefully, if there's anything criminal going on, it'll be handled through the proper channels. Nothing has come out of these reports at the time I made this video, but then there was the other side of the crowd that didn't think this was a straightforward case. Some brought up neurodivergence as an explanation for his weird obsession. I keep seeing people argue over whether he's just evil or whether he's neurodivergent, but I don't think those conversations have to cancel each other out. If he is neurodivergent, it might explain why some of his interests or online behavior seem so bizarre. That still doesn't make any harmful behavior okay. Plenty of autistic and neurodivergent people are kind and respectful and don't do anything like this. It's possible to acknowledge that someone's brain works differently while also saying they're responsible for their actions. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. It's true that if someone struggles with social cues, they might see Pinterest as just a private mood board or reference folder and not realize how it looks from the outside. I get that, but as the person rightly stated, neurodivergence does not excuse potentially harmful behavior. Other people pushed back on that hard. Their point was, intent aside, the fact that it involved kids' photos and those kinds of edits is serious, and it deserves a closer look. I don't buy that argument at all. People are way too quick to throw around, maybe he's neurodivergent, every time someone does something disturbing. Unless there's an actual diagnosis from a qualified professional, it's just speculation. And even if there were, it wouldn't explain or justify the kind of behavior people are talking about here. It feels like the conversation keeps shifting away from the actions themselves, and I don't think that's helpful. Judge people by what they actually do, not by the diagnoses strangers on the internet assign to them. This person had a good point too, but while I was digging, I felt this rush of deja vu, like I've had this experience before, and that was when it clicked. This case shares many similarities with the Smart Schoolboy 9 case, and that's why it felt so familiar. Remember Smart Schoolboy 9? Between 2021 and 2024, the Smart Schoolboy 9 scandal rocked UK online spaces. It centered on a middle-aged man who posted AI-edited, heavily filtered images of children distorting lips and eyes in a style that aligns almost too perfectly with what appears in this Pinterest case, involving Danieltommy616. SSB9, as he came to be known, dressed in schoolboy-style outfits in some of his content, blending an unsettling adult persona with a childlike aesthetic, which was creepy to say the least.
Get out of Blackpool and go to London. I will find my way there. No one will stop me. Soon enough, everyone will know who I am. David London belongs in London. No one will stop me. No one will stop.
The similarities run deeper than just the editing style. Both cases involved a single person using multiple aliases to dodge bans and keep content alive even after platforms caught on. Both seem to love fetish behavior built around specific facial features like lips and eyes, rather than a generic interest in children. I did some additional research and discovered that this isn't random. It is actually a recognizable pattern tied to certain feature-specific paraphilia. And now, they were directing it towards children.
I'm in London now, ready to find a school. Where can I find new friends?
SSB9 operated mostly through direct posting and video, which eventually pulled in enough reports and visibility to prompt an account ban on Pinterest.
The weirdest thing for me is that Smart Schoolboy is an actual person and it's not an ARG. When I first heard about it, I thought, oh yeah, no, because the internet's obsessed with ARGs. This might just be one of those things. No, how is this a real man? A 50 to 60-year-old man just, out there chilling in London. And he's off dressing like a child and making fake accounts pretending to be children with these really weirdly edited pictures of kids. It's so strange. And the weirdest thing to me is that he just gets away with it. Loads of people post about him, but he just still does it. And I'm pretty sure he's still doing it. It's so strange to me.
He is still posting himself on TikTok, but at least he stopped posting distorted photos of children, and the TikTok audience don't seem to mind watching his odd posts. In fact, when he made one of his videos announcing his arrival in London, multiple people engaged with the post by naming schools they wanted him to attend. Come to Our Lady of Victory's Catholic Primary School. Come to Tottenham. There are loads of new friends. This Pinterest case was different because it was so quiet. There was no video or public show. It was just thousands of saved pictures and folders that most people would scroll past without thinking much of it. Still, people pointed out the same creepy energy between both men. Can someone help me understand what kind of fetish this is? Smart Schoolboy 9? Now this, what are these men doing when they edit these photos like this? My friend and I can't figure out why they distort their faces like that. Kinda looks like the Smart Schoolboy 9 type of editing. Smart Schoolboy 9 The Return? Honestly, I have a lot to say about the Smart Schoolboy 9 situation, but I am just going to leave that for another video. There's something else I want to talk about now, and it's how Pinterest has become somewhat of a breeding ground for weirdos like Danieltommy616 and Smart Schoolboy 9. How do these creeps act in plain sight without any moderation until users flag them and root them out? Part of the answer has to do with how Pinterest functions. The entire platform is built around saving and organizing content other people have already posted. That's literally what a pin is. Most major platforms put their heaviest moderation resources into scanning newly uploaded content, because that's where their legal exposure is most direct. Saved content, especially when it's reposted from somewhere else, doesn't always get pushed through the same detection systems with the same urgency. This wasn't a hypothetical gap. Multiple users experienced it directly. Several users reported the Danieltommy616 account, sometimes repeatedly, and getting zero visible action from Pinterest, even as the account kept posting, and even similar accounts kept reappearing under slightly different names within days of a previous one getting banned. Then there's the watermark problem. Automated moderation systems often rely partly on detectable signatures, a face app watermark, for example, to flag AI-altered images for human review. By using the paid version of the app to remove the watermark, the account owner bypassed the automated detection that might have caught up with his shenanigans sooner. This leads me to believe that he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. And then there's the categorization problem. A board called Sport, or Hairstyle Ideas, looks completely harmless on its own and wouldn't trigger any review whatsoever. It's only when you zoom out and look at the entire profile, dozens of boards, some innocent, some alarming, all run by the same account, that the pattern becomes undeniable. Automated systems aren't great at connecting that kind of dotted line pattern across an entire profile. Human reviewers are better at it, but human review at the scale of a platform with hundreds of millions of users is limited, and accounts like this can sit in a review queue for a long time before anybody actually looks at the full picture. And this isn't unique to Pinterest, even though Pinterest is the platform at the center of this specific case. Search Pinterest Predator reports, and you'll find a recurring complaint. Regular users get banned fast and aggressively for things like minor copyright strikes, while accounts engaging in genuinely harmful behavior persist for months, because the violation isn't easily automatable, as these people put it. It's sad Pinterest literally takes down regular meme posts every day, but wouldn't do anything about this. They often take down pins I save for art reference, saying it's simple. It's almost like they also like kids. That inconsistency, strict on the easy-to-catch stuff, slow on the hard-to-catch stuff, shows up across nearly every major platform, not just this one. If this doesn't change, people like Danieltommy616 and Smart Schoolboy 9 will continue to thrive under different accounts. To this day, there has been no publicly confirmed arrest, charge, or official law enforcement statement connected to this case, and I have a strong feeling Tommy is still actively lurking around the internet looking for his next victim.